thought I'd just do one again today. Hopefully this one doesn't have my internet crash out. Although I was on for over an hour yesterday anyway, so it wasn't really a problem. But it's still annoying when these streams just crash out because my shitty internet crashes out. So, let me get the settings correct for the pop-out chat and everything, so I can actually see the chat more easily. This mask is a lot more comfortable. Yeah, I can get the smelling salts out, but this mask is a lot more comfortable now I've shaved my head. So anyway, let me do a pop-out chat. There we go, and then I'll do the white screen thing. There we go, that makes the screen brighter. So yeah, shaved my head, so obviously these head condoms, the sort of shim style helmet masks are a lot more comfortable. That does line up better with my ears now as well, the like the ear bit there. It's still not perfect, but it's better compared to how it was before. But yeah, that's certainly better than it was. I'll move the chat window over to the bottom right corner, so it's near my phone. I don't think you should get addicted to smelling salts. That would probably be very bad for your eyes and lungs. Like I said, I like them for testing masks. They're good for that. But yeah, so the Shum 2012, like I said, weird thing. Kind of interesting, kind of also, why did they bother, you know, doing some of these weird side grades on it? But yeah, right, so we'll chat about whatever for an hour. As long as you didn't chop one in half, that's pretty good, John's life. I don't have a set-me bayonet, sadly. Don't even have an L1A1 bayonet. I wanted to get one, but they're just silly money for what they are. They're like, because they're just kind of meh bayonets, but for whatever reason over here, they cost more than what the others. So, I had it the other day, but I probably put them back away. I had that big Lee Enfield bayonet. And those Lee Enfield bayonets, funnily enough, are cheaper than the L1A1 bayonets over here. Ah, that's good, Stampy Dragon. Like I said, the FMJ08 I quite like. Because like I said, it's basically just a decent copy of an S10. There's some differences between it and an S10. Never seen one Shadow Company for sale. Like I said, the only bayonet copies I've really been able to find are ones like the M4 and the M7 bayonets. So these, you know, are good because they actually fit on the rifles they're meant to fit on for replicas. But I've sadly never seen an L1A1 bayonet sort of clone, sort of replica. Because I don't think L1A1 bayonets, annoyingly, will fit on a regular FAL and vice versa, because of the inch pattern, sort of metric pattern thing. As long as Firebird, the mask's in decent protection and nothing's damaged on it, yes. But the issue is, I don't know how bad MP5s are. Oh, they're definitely better, but you know what I mean. Because it's based on the French ARFA, I don't know if MP5s sometimes get those same issues with them eventually. You know, where the rubber just dries out. I think my MP5 is still absolutely fine, but I know they also sometimes go a bit yellow as well. No, that's alright, John. It's because, like I said, it's the L1A1 bayonet I want. But, yeah, it's just that really annoying thing where, for some reason over here, the L1, A1 bayonets are just way more than a lot of rarer bayonets. No, yeah, can't show guns on a YouTube stream. Herbert says, go home. I think it's get out of here, stalker, we're looking for. But, yeah, because the bayonet, one of the bayonets I really like is this one. And these are really dirt cheap for what they are, these Sturmgewehr 57 bayonets. But, yeah, sadly, it's like you could get these for £40 each, but you couldn't get the bloody, you know, you couldn't get the bloody L1A1 bayonets, which are probably not as rare for, you know, and they're not as good bayonets in the first place. They're much cheaper, nasty looking bayonets. You'd have to pay way more for those. So yeah, it's just one of those annoying things where, yeah, I've got a few AK bayonets, again, because they're just sort of dirt cheap and alright. They're kind of better as utility knives than bayonets, the AK ones. I don't know if it's in this room. Let me go have a look. Oops, that's made a good seal to my face. I was going to say, I don't know if it's in this room. I've got a really shit quality Egyptian bayonet somewhere, yeah. Because at one point they were like one of the cheapest AK bayonets you could buy on the site selling them. I'm just going to see if I can get out where my MP5 is, because I think I know where the MP5 is, and I'll check if mine is still in good condition. Also, bear in mind, Firebird, a lot of people sell French ARFAs as Polish MP5s. So you have to be careful of that as well, that you don't actually buy an ARFA where somebody's listed it as an MP5. If you can see the pictures, you can tell an MP5 apart from the French one, because they have the different, like, voice diaphragm XL valve cover. I think the ARFA has the one that looks like it's got loads of dots in it, a bit like this. Whereas the MP5, I think, is the one that has, like, concentric circles, whatever you call it, you know, where there's one big circle, then a smaller circle, then a smaller circle. Anyway, let me have a quick look and see if that's accessible, the MP5. It might not be at all, it's just... No, this is a totally different mask in this bag. Hang on a second. See if I can get this out, but... I think this is probably a Polish mask, but it's probably not the MP5. I thought that was the MP5 satchel from a distance, but it's not. It's got dust on my white shirt now. Yeah, that's the Polish whatever one it's called. That's not the one with the voice diaphragm on, but the one with the nice zinc, sort of shiny. It's just the Polish version of the Shum 41. I don't have the hose in the bag though, so although there's still an EO14 in there. The hose isn't there. Yeah, let's pop that one on instead. I've got two replica Civil War cavalry sabers, as in I've got I've got two replica Civil War swords. One is the cavalry saber, the other is the cutlass, the naval cutlass, and the naval cutlass is definitely better. Cavalry saber, I can't remember if it's still in this room or elsewhere, but I've shown that before. Oh, it is literally there. Hang on. If I can do this without knocking everything over. Whoop. So yeah, if you're on about one of these, I've got a replica US cavalry saber, but I don't particularly like the weight and balance of this. I definitely prefer the British 1796 to this one. But the US cutlass I really like, but just not so much the saber. It's just the weight's a bit weird on it. And it's not just this replica like that. I've seen from some HEMA channels where they've like used these. They just don't like them as much as some other sabers. You know, it's just, it probably would work fine as a saber. It's just that, you know, the weight and balance of these feels just a bit weird. I assume it's just because of the big bit on the pommel. You know, the center of balance doesn't quite seem where you think it would be. Anyway, let's pop that back away without stabbing a gas mask. There we go. An Avon FM12 would normally not go wrong at all. I mean, they're pretty damn durable masks. I have probably over 150 in my collection. My favourite in terms of I'd probably use it would be my C50. All right, Ohio Uncle. Sorry, yeah, I've not got my glasses on now. So.
Yeah, with these ones, the only issue with these is obviously no voice diaphragm, so you're not going to hear me very well. But I do like these Polish ones. Right, Billy the Fridge.
Yeah, let's go back to oh yeah, an interesting thing is the Polish masks are actually like white as opposed to the weird grey cream colour of the Soviet ones. So they are like two distinctive colours there. It's not just a case of I mean obviously that Soviet one has gone a bit different coloured with age, but yeah, the Polish ones were more of a white kind of cream, whereas that's kind of a greyer cream. I don't know how much you paid for it, Stampy. I don't think you said. Oh, you paid 64. So you paid about 100 quid for it. I don't know. Is that a Yugo M70 bayonet? If so, probably, because they're probably only worth like 30 quid. I don't know though, because I don't know about the price, sort of what they should cost for a Yugo M70 bayonet. To answer your question, basically. What about a Serbian gas mask? What, you mean the Vatniks? Because, how dare you insult Russia? Russia is very strong. Those lot, Vatniks. If ever you see anything on a video about Ukraine, by the way, you can bet you will get Vatnik comments from a Russian troll farm within about 5 minutes of it going up. Some of them were really, really interesting to like read, because some of them are just like, the fuck you do not like Russia, you are stupid ones. Others are like, hello, I am John Smith from Texas Oblast, and I think it is very bad we are supporting Ukraine. You sometimes get those type ones as well. Some of them are better at pretending to be not Russians in the comments, but most of them are pretty damn obvious. I don't listen to Russia very strong, we war you. Yeah, the thing is with like Vatniks and all this sort of stuff is, if Russia was trying to make me shut up, they should probably try and pay me like they did to loads of other people. I'm not saying I'd take blood money, but you know what I'm saying is just insulting me isn't going to make me like Russia all of a sudden. Like I said before, I don't have anything against regular Russian people, but I don't Vatnikistan or whatever you want to call like Putin's modern Russia is not a example of a good country anybody should have any appeal to it. Basically, it's a declining shithole, like you said, that's aggressively sort of hitting out at other countries. Oh yeah, they don't train their soldiers properly. They don't give their soldiers proper equipment. Their kind of common tactic. Oh, a comment held for review. I'll have to check what that is in a second. The common tactic that Russian soldiers have now is the meat wave kind of recon by force thing, where it's basically send soldiers forward in a small group, see if a drone or like artillery thing or machine gun hits them. If they die, send another wave, maybe this time with a little bit more support. So most of the time you have a few soldiers going forward, getting killed, just repeating that non-stop until they eventually just take some ground because they run the Ukrainians out of ammo or drones or whatever and thing. But that's not a good way of using your soldiers. Anyway, I'm going to read what the comment held for review was. All right, what does it say? YouTube's telling me it might be offensive. Oh, no, it's Nicholas just saying, I mean, the guy who criticized you couldn't even spell dumbass correctly. Yeah, I get what you mean, Retrowave. So yeah, you're saying like from horseback it's a better saber, but not if you're dismounted, where a lot of the other sabers are kind of mixed, aren't they? Yeah. So like I said, it's probably one that, yeah, if you were using it on horseback, you might massively prefer it. But I think most people who have done videos like test cutting with them didn't like them because they're probably stood around on foot. But like I said, the US Cutlass I really like of that era. I have my replica of that in the other room, and that is actually really nice, as in it's one of my favorite swords I own in terms of like length, you know, how it feels when you swing it. It's just one of those blades where they've got, you know, the weight to the width and the length of the blade almost perfect on it. At least for me, you know, like saying, because some people prefer short swords, some people prefer long swords, but I always like the kind of cutlass falchion sort of length, short sort of brawling swords rather than big long swords, because I prefer the idea of a sword that you can recover from a swing faster. Especially because I'm not somebody that, you know, like I said, is trained to use a sword properly. So it means oh, have we got a Gen Alpha there or whatever it is? Skibbity Toilet. That is a name I haven't heard in a long time. But thank you for your very interesting contribution to this chat. Skibbity Toilets, yes. I think it's Phantom Tax Ohio something or other as well, isn't it? Well, like I said, a lot of the Russian trolling stuff is actually a thing called it's their fake name for it is the Internet Research Agency or Institute or something like that. I think it's GLONASS, the other noise name. It's called noise. That what noise comes out of them. And yeah, they're the ones who they are literally employed to, you know, spread pro-Russian stuff or, you know, erode other countries, if you like. So these are the guys that back both left and right wing parties in a country if it undermines the country. So they're saying, say, like, you know, two contradicting things at once. The whole idea is they're the ones that basically try and make countries that aren't Russia weaker, and then say how great Russia is, you know, online, sort of non-stop. The person, Nicholas Skibbity Toilet, is some like weird brain rot Gen Alpha thing, as in even Zoomers are too old for it. And it's one of those like constant, just lol so random stuff going on. If you've ever seen that thing of like how Gen Alpha speak about the so what's it, something to the, oh, what is it, the Riz of the Phantom Tax or something, Skibbity Toilet Ohio. Yeah, I'm basically a millennial 90s kid sort of era. So to me, even though you know, my generation had slang, some of the somebody else is just spamming the chat. Hello, goodbye. Sorry if you're actually just being polite in another language, but I have no idea what you're saying. We were trying to talk about skibbity toilets. So yeah, it's one of those things where if you even think as a millennial Zoomer, some Zoomer phrases are hard to understand. Wait till you see Gen Alpha brain rot, where it is literally like, yeah, something about your gap for the Rizzler or whatever it is. I like the Family Guy parody of that, where there's a guy like saying it to Peter Griffin, and then Peter's like, "What?" Where they've obviously, it's somebody who's meant to be speaking like other kind of weird old things, but yeah. But yes, the skibbity toilets is a thing that is now known as like the thing that means brain rot. I'll just put this mask back on. Why not? Like, so at least shaving my head again means I can do this easy. No pulling of my scalp. Oh, we've got another one. You know, at least YouTube's sharing my videos with random people that I have no idea what they're talking about. Yeah, I get what you mean, Retrowave, but yeah, like I said, it's just probably a different design. Where, like you said, a lot of the European sabers as well are sort of for people to march along with, like the officers on sort of, you know, standard thing as well. Oh, we're getting a load of weirdos on now. What I might have to do if a load of them keep coming on is put the slow mode on, or whatever it is. But yeah, as my hair was getting longer, I was like, oh, for Christ's sake, this is really sort of getting in the way of some of these masks again. Like this one, you couldn't even get into the position it was meant to go in, so my hair would just kind of ride it up like that. Yeah, it's a Shum 2012, so it's a mask that doesn't really need to exist. It's where the Russians, there you go. The Russians basically said, oh, you know, like the GP5 or GP5M PMG2, let's do that with triangular lenses rather than circular lenses. Originally, these just had the proper GP5 style intake out exhale sort of valve assembly, and then they cheapened that with some bright yellow plastic that stops a load of filters sealing properly with the mask. So yeah, it's one of these masks that is kind of like, why does it exist? It's like I said, it's not god awful, but it's not really a good mask either. Mostly just collecting. Like, obviously, I've got stuff that if something bad happened, it gives you like emergency supplies. But it's one of those things where I don't on purposely go out of my way to have, you know, stuff like that. Yeah, basically, shaven head with nearly every mask works better because it just means that the straps and whatever don't get caught on your hair, or like the hood on these. Specifically for these, just because, again, they have like the problem at the top, like I was saying, where sometimes the mask pushes away from the face if you've got enough hair. Right, what I will do, because we've got a load of spamming Gen Alphas or Vatniks or whoever it is I will change the chat mode, I'm afraid, to the thing that means that, if I can remember how to do it, bear with me a second, to the mode where only people can comment if they are subscribed. So if you're not subscribed, if you subscribe now, within 5 minutes, you'll be allowed to comment again. Who can send messages? Subscribers who have been subscribed for 5 minutes. There we go. That generally is enough effort to stop the low effort spammers coming on. So, but yeah, so like I said, this is essentially just literally the PMG2, but with not circular lenses, you know, like the GP5M. Oh, and this doesn't have the ear holes cut out of it. But yeah, other than that, yeah, Portsmouth's all right. There's a lot of Navy stuff there. But yeah, like I said, this isn't any better in quality in terms of rubber or whatever. If you're on about old Navy revolvers, as in like the black powder Colt Navy style ones, yes, you can own those. You can actually own replicas of them as well, but the annoying thing is I think a lot of retailers won't sell you the replicas unless you have a gun license, even though you don't need the gun license to own them. So it's one of those annoying things where, you know, like in theory, the law is made more difficult than it needs to be because a lot of retailers try and legally cover themselves, a bit like with the two-tone airsoft thing. Yeah, you just said, Joshua, you went to Portsmouth last summer. It was a very nice place. And I said, yes, Portsmouth's nice and they have a lot of Navy stuff. But yeah, like I'm saying, the Chinese ones like this are fairly damn good now. Oh, and the one we kept bringing up yesterday, I'll put this on because now I don't have the lenses on this. Do need a bit of a clean. About Navy revolvers, because they're black powder, they're obviously a lot less powerful than smokeless guns because of the fact that black powder by volume is just not as powerful pressure-wise as Type 56. Which one's that? What, like the AK, the Type 56 AK, or something else, or the SKS, or something completely different? Ah, that's interesting, Retrowave. No, I didn't know that, so that's very interesting. No, I don't have a Chinese AK, sadly. But It's also the SKS, isn't it, as well, Type 56? But no, sadly, I don't have either. The 2 AKs I've got that are deactivated, I've got a Yugoslavian M72 RPK, and it's the AB1 variant, the one with the folding stock on an RPK, which is always funny. And I've also got the East German MPIK, or whatever it is, the AKM East German one. Again, videos on both of those on my channel. Can't show them on the live stream, even if I knew exactly where they were. Yeah, I've still got the L1A1. It's over there. But again, annoyingly, with YouTube policy, I can't show them you on a stream, even though I can do regular videos on them. Right, so the Looty gun is the thing that everybody I know who's into guns knows about. It's one of those things you kind of want to be careful talking about online in case Mr. Right-Wing Fuggery Keir Starmer is like, oh, I don't like the sound of you, I'm going to have you arrested. I don't think he's actually going to do that, but you know, it's considering in the UK we've got our little kind of manlet dictator over here as well. Obviously not as bad as somebody like Putin, but somebody that does try and get people arrested for saying things he doesn't like. It's the sort of thing with the Looty, like I don't really talk about it on YouTube because just in case people then imply I'm making one or something like that. Yeah, YouTube's got a lot stricter, Nicholas, with gun content. Like, to start with, it was you then couldn't have automatics in videos. Then it's like there's a mag limit size now for new videos. Then it was stuff to do with, like, yeah, on a live stream. I can't show any of my firearms on a live stream, you know, the DAX or whatever. DAX, the obsolete calibers, even though I can show them in a regular video. I like a Cal 98K, but sadly they're stupidly expensive, even with a DAC. I'm assuming it's one of those weird anti-gun things of if you have a big mag, it makes the gun more scary, so therefore you can't have it, you know, because it's not like if somebody was going to do a mass bad thing with a gun, having lots of decent-sized mags would make them any less dangerous than having 1 or 2 big mags. I mean, big mags would actually make them probably less dangerous. They'd be more likely to jam, as in, at least with drum mags and some of the huge old stick mags used to jam a lot. So I'd actually be more worried if there was somebody who was capable of cycling mags and they had smaller mags than somebody who had like a giant fucking, you know, old drum of ammo, but whatever. Oh, is the Glock switch the fun selector that you can't legally have in the US? Because if so, I kind of know a bit about those. Not saying I'm an expert at all, but I mean, as in, I know that it's one of those things where like you can actually get done for it in the US. All right, Taco Kisser, but yeah, or Taco Kisser. But yes. Anyway, I was going to put this on, wasn't I? You should be able to hear me with this one on anyway, because it's got a good voicing, I think. Although, again, this has horrible straps, this mask. It's not as bad as the Draeger M60. Oh, that one's knocked through. Hang on. Let's come out at some stage. Yeah, this isn't anywhere near as bad as the Draeger M65 in terms of putting the straps, pulling the straps around, but it's still a bit of a ball ache. Alright, get that in there. And I should be able to get... Oh, is this strap broken off? Oh no, it's just the weird way the mask bit looks on here. Again, this isn't a good design for straps. These might have just been done up stupidly tight at one point. Let me see if I can loosen them. Yeah, I think it feels like, yeah, I reckon these straps are, yeah, saying that these aren't as bad as the Draeger M65, because at least the buckle isn't one you have to physically, like, adjust, you know, like very slowly strap to strap. It's one that you can at least do what I just did. So, there we go. like I said, yeah, when somebody was asking the other day about Romanian M74s and M85s, these are actually pretty damn good masks for what they are. But yeah, this is basically just the Romanian sort of licensed copy of the Draeger M65, and it's better than the Draeger M65, but you know, but this is actually quite uncomfortable. This is the pressure it puts on the back of my neck there. Oh, actually, I lied just now. Well, not lied. I was looking at the wrong thing. So over there, when we were on about bayonets, I didn't actually put these back. So yeah, I did have the 1907 bayonet still over here. Can't believe I actually saw the chat. There's not loads and loads of messages where I can't keep up with it. No, I don't have a deactivated RPG. I've got the Strela tube behind me there. That's a Strela 2's launch tube. Again, I can't probably lift that up on YouTube, but YouTube doesn't seem to mind actual launcher tubes for some reason. And I've got an AT4 as well, you know, as in Alpha Tango 4, Swedish anti-tank sort of single shot tube thing. But yeah, like I said, the Enfield bayonets I really like, just because they're no, don't have any Japanese bayonets. The only person I know of a Japanese thing like that is Weapon Collector, and he's done a video on this. He's got what turned out to be an Imperial Japanese sword, but not the katanas, but you know, like the nicer officer style swords. He had the I won't be able to remember the name of it, but you know, it's like a late 1800s, early 1900s one from Imperial Japan. So it's a better sword than the katana, but it's, yeah, like whatever the Japanese kind of officer's sword was from that period. No, I haven't heard of him, Joshua, and I don't normally follow YouTube drama-y type things because it's all so tiresome. I've got the PBF, but I don't have it handy because it's somewhere else in the house somewhere. I did, like I said, I need to do a video on it. I did buy another Chinese type 65, whatever it is, the Chinese one with the huge one cheek filter in it, and a Viet Cong chest rig, the Chi-Con chest rig, because on AliExpress they had a load of them cheap again. I was like, yeah, I'll get some more of those. Do I roleplay? That sounds a bit kinky, with rifles and fixed bayonets. No, I don't do reenacting either. Reenacting is something I'd definitely like to do if there was groups near me that, you know, actually did it. But sadly, there's not. Like, I've said this before, though, about the PBF, right? Where you're on about the PBF. The PBF is one of the only Soviet masks that actually has an oral nasal cup in it. So that's the really sad thing, is that other Soviet masks would actually be better if they had that oral nasal cup. Because obviously with the oral nasal cup in a PBF, it actually means it doesn't fog up as much. All right, I'd rather this chat didn't turn into my country's guns are better than your country's guns. Because in general on here, other than when we have the VAT mix throwing a shit fit, most people from all around the world can get on these videos because we, you know, it's rather than talking about people, you know, hating other countries because you oppressed me in whatever year or whatever. It's people just talking about stuff because the military history is interesting. Sadly, don't have any Spanish sabers. I don't have many sabers other than that British 1796 copy, that US one. I have the French saber briquette over there, actually, but that's not sharpened. I need to ideally sharpen that at some point. Again, this is quite, like I said, if I had to sharpen this, would actually be quite nice, the saber briquette, but it's oh yeah, a load of dust on there, or dead leather from the inside of the sheath. But yeah, this is quite a nice sort of cutlass sabery length thing, saber briquette. This was like, you know, the Napoleonic kind of sort of marching saber, not the
So I think that's why they jokingly called this one the briquette or whatever. All right, hype. Because of the fact that, yeah, this one is obviously not full size. I think it's because it's meant to feel like a brick of coal or something. So yeah, this has got a sharp point on it. You could definitely run somebody through with this. But because these were made for like reenactment, by default they're blunt. So you'd have to, you know, take a bout sander to it or whatever and sharpen it. But I do quite like the handling of this because, again, like I said, I like the cutlassy length sort of swords more than the you know, because you can do that easier with them. But yeah, I think I bought this because I'd watched Waterloo again, and then I was like, I want a French saber. Send in the guard. So your Quangsheng TK11 radio arrived today, picks up airband really well through concrete with a multi-band antenna extended 4 segments. That's very cool. No, Pakistani AKs, as in what properly made ones, would you mean like Khyber Pass ones? Because Khyber Pass guns are really interesting. As long as, I don't know, because the thing with Chance Ram, if you're not transmitting on a radio, I don't think there's any issue, because like over here, I've got the Radtail, which I need to...
Frequency mode.
Okay. So I can listen to the local air traffic control there. I need to get a new charger for this, because I don't know how charger is for it. I also need to give it a clean. It's quite milky.
How many people are aboard?
How many people on board? Speak up. Yeah, you asked you how many people on board. Speak up. But yeah, I need to give this a good clean. This is pretty filthy where it's just been sat around picking up dust and crap that's now stuck to it. I mean, look at the back end of that. Sheesh. Can't actually see how bad that looks for this lighting, but yeah, that's grimy as shit, that backside to that. So yeah, I've still got the Finnish M61s. There's one up there, but you can't see that. Yeah, that's...
Station turn the traffic southeast and northwest to the overhead, not below 2,000 feet. A Cherokee, Oxford Tower.
But yeah, this one is a Radtail. What particular model Radtail is? This antenna isn't the one it came with. This is a better one Hype sent me to put on it. But yeah, I need to buy another battery charger for this. Yeah, modern Nokias aren't good though, sadly, because my mum got a modern Nokia phone recently, and it was actually a bit shit. She had to buy a Chinese dumb phone that was better. Yeah, you kind of have to. One of my friends did that actual job in that exact airport for a while, who I think he now might be a completely qualified pilot, but I've not chatted with him in a while, but he was training to be a pilot. And that's what one of the things he did while doing some of the studying and saving up money to train to be a pilot was work in air traffic control because it was related to planes, so he found it interesting. Australian bayonets. I think my my actual 1907 bayonet I think is an Aussie one. I'm pretty sure this is a Lift Go or whatever one it was. But again, it's just the same pattern design as all the other British Empire ones. But yeah, the Nokia M61s, I definitely like the gas mask. But yeah, sadly, Nokia phones aren't as good as they used to be. Yeah, I think he is actually a pilot now. I think he's qualified. I don't know if he just does like freight flying or whatever, or proper full-size planes. I don't know because I haven't asked him in ages. But it's one of those things he wanted to do since being a kid. So actually, you know, trained and like any money he had, he like saved up to do it because it was one of the. That's really cool. So yeah, hopefully we'll pick up more shit around me that's not stuff you can find easily. Because like with that airfield coordinates, I don't think the Radtail and some of the others would find it very well through scanning. But I found out what the, you know, like the not coordinates, but the frequency was just manually input. That's cool, Nicholas. But yeah, like I was saying, so it's one of those things where yeah, there's probably a lot more interesting stuff I could actually pick up with the other one. Oh, are those the ones that when you eject, like, so you can cut all the rigging and that off of yourself? Is it that kind of survival knife? Or the ones that then you can use to start a fire and whatever, like cut wood and all that sort of thing, that kind of survival knife? Favourite gas mask I have in terms of, like I say, and I'd actually use is the C50. But in terms of all the masks I've got, just in terms of visuals, I don't really know. There's a lot I like. It's a hard question to answer. That's the problem. The more you get, the more you find it harder to say, oh, I really like that mask. It's because, you know, you're like, oh, I like a bit of this one, like a bit of that one. Surplus ones, like older style surplus ones. Well, the M61 was the first ever gas mask I owned, like literally was, but the V2, because my mum bought me one when I was really young from like an army surplus shop when she was out, just, you know, when they used to physically exist on the high street. Went in and thought, oh, they're like a gas mask. Yeah, and that was a can of worms she opened. So I still have a very soft spot for the M61, and yes, I know it's an M9A1 clone, but it's a better version of the M9A1. You know, it was good that the first gas mask I owned wasn't one with a dangerous filter because I, you know, breathed through it non-stop. Kel says, does anyone know if you can get Gen 3 passive night vision tubes in the UK? They're impossible to find in Australia. I mean, the thing is with Gen 3 is I don't actually know because I don't know what the UK itself actually uses. As in, most commercial things sold over here are Gen 1 plus Gen 2. And then you can obviously buy things like the ADNV stuff, which is digital. But like in the UK, you don't even see PVS 14s very often because of US ITAR type stuff where they don't really turn up over here unless somebody wants to spend a load of money. But like I said, out of all the night vision I've got, the best one is that ADNV unit. Thank you, Unknown. Did it last night because, like I said, I was getting pissed off of the hair getting in the way of stuff. I'm trying to think if they're ones you can even own in the UK or not. Slip Joint Shadow Company. The pocket knives I like. Again, the pocket knife I've got I actually like the most is probably this one. The like later style British Army utility knife. So very sharp, kind of cutting blade that locks. So technically not UK you can carry it everywhere legal because that's a locking blade, but again safer to use. Like gutting hook and bottle open a bit on it. You've got a flathead screwdriver on that end as well. That's just like the fixed bit of metal there to feed a flathead screwdriver. That's basically it to this knife. It's just a very simple but very sturdy knife. Thank you, Taco Kisser. Yeah, I have a few people that come on here and chat who are from Finland. Yeah, it is a British Army knife. Like I said, it's one of the ones. The my granddad still has his old World War II issued army knife, the like old Bakelite style one. That, you know, is like the Swiss Army knife again, a bit like this with only a couple of blades on it. But yeah, my granddad still has his one of those. It's just in his garage from World War II, and it's yeah, it's rusty. The Bakelite is very faded, but it still works as a knife. Like I said, Kel, the one I like now is the ADNV digital one. But yeah, like I said, personally, I got my night vision through Hyped, how his name is on here now. So it's like one of those things where if you were just doing it through a random sort of buying on AliExpress, you're probably going to be down to luck a lot more, isn't it? Yeah, well, something I have now, which is really useful, but I'm tempted to buy a bigger one, is an ultrasonic cleaner, because that is actually really useful for cleaning like rust and shit off of knives and buckles and that. But like I said, it's not my knife, so it's if my granddad leaves it to me or wants me to clean it at some point, I'll happily clean it up and get that knife looking nice. But at the moment, it's his knife, so it's none of my business. Sandpapering rust, I think, again, it depends. You don't want to sandpaper too hard. Because, again, it's like with a lot of... The thing I like with ultrasonic cleaners is other than very thin, delicate things, they're pretty good at not really hurting the metal underneath. All right, weapons and military dude reloaded. Yep, 1907. Yep, like I said, it's because I had it out the other day for a stream. I thought I put it away and then I hadn't. But yeah, one of the reasons I want to get a bigger ultrasonic cleaner is you could actually fit blades like this in it. My one is basically big enough to put my glasses in, you know, like a knife like that size. But I saw the exact same models they sell on Amazon at half the price on AliExpress. I think for about £200 you can buy the 30-litre ultrasonic cleaners, which you'd be able to fit most milsurp stuff in one that size. Yeah, as Retro was saying, like I said, somebody obviously knows more than me, but yeah, it's a bit like with sharpening knives. You have to be careful as well, because sometimes when you sharpen knives, you can kind of ruin the profile of the blade as well if you look at some knives really closely after sharpening. That's got still a bit of oil on the end. It's probably because there's a greasy bit of what you call it? It looks like got shit on my finger now. It's probably because the very end of this bayonet probably has a load of oil cosmoline. Yeah, it's literally cosmoline grease. Yeah, it's probably right at the end of the bayonet. So every time you put it into the scabbard, it gets a bit of cosmoline poked on the end. Favorite set of armor. The only armor that is really, really practical, and I've still got it in this room, hang on, is my ECBA. Because you can then get the ECBA and you can just put any sort of assault rigging you want on it over the top, and it's practical. So 1 second, because I've got this done up down here. Alright, I need to move some guns not in frame so YouTube can't ban me for moving the guns. Now, just on my Martini Henry there, hit my thumb. Right, can I get this out without... Again, this is kind of weird where it's not really that buried, but it's still buried enough to be awkward. But yeah, the ECBA. This is still my favourite bit of body armour because of the fact of how lightweight it is. But yeah, the ECBA. Oh, there goes a rifle. The ECBA. I'll actually do that up. Is like I said, it's the people joked apparently in the British Army at the time that if you were wearing an ECBA, you had to hope the enemy was a good shot because it's only like smallest vital organs that are protected by this thing. But yeah, the ECBA though is you're meant to do the other bit up first, aren't you? I haven't worn it in ages, so hopefully it hasn't shrunk. I doubt it's shrunk. I mean, I've probably got fatter, but yeah, I think it's because I've had this sat sort of closed up with weight next to it for a while, so the armor has sort of slipped around inside the vest. But yeah, the ECBA. Get that top little button done up again. There we go. The ECBA I like because, like I said, it's yeah, that's the problem is the armor's moved around inside of it where it's been sat on the floor for ages with weight pressed against it. The reason ECBA is good is because of the fact that the ceramic plates in it are relatively small. So, you know, it's actually quite a comfortable thing to just have on. It was also funny, the ECBA, it was the armor that the British Army had in service for almost the longest, where they kept wanting to replace this thing but found it was just too damn useful. So it was one of those things that actually outlasted lots of the other like heavier assault vest style bits of armor, like the Osprey plate carriers, because of the fact that this was still really, really useful for rear echelon troops, you know, a bit like in World War II, the guys that have been issued M1 carbines. So the ECBA just ended up in service for, you know, decades because of the fact that it has soft Kevlar filler and it has a ceramic plate front and back that, you know, covers your sort of heart area there. So it was one of those things that, you know, the ECBA is one of those sort of armor sets. So again, the reason, like I said, I like this is because of the fact it's actually, you could wear this for a long time and you wouldn't want to take it off, where the heavier armors are definitely not as good for that. Like they, you know, they chafe you a lot more and stuff like that. So yeah, with the ECBA, the nice thing with this is because it doesn't have its own rigging on it, you can just put your own like Chi-Com, like, you know, AK mag thing over the top or another sort of assault vest and just zip it up over the top. Oh yeah, I realised why this was hard to do up, because I hadn't undone the straps before doing it. Well, where you're meant to, I think, get it as loose as possible and then do those up once you've... Where's that particular one gone? One of these is at the back somewhere. Ah, there it is. Yeah, that would have helped me get that on a bit easier. Yeah, we were on about Chi-Com earlier because I bought another Chi-Com thing in M65 because on AliExpress they were quite cheap. But I love the Chi-Com like little just AK thing that goes across the chest. It's yeah, saying ECBAs and that. Yeah, like we're saying, because the thing is with like a lot of the British armor, like the other vests, like we're saying, is that with a lot of the other vests, because they cover more of you, so they've got therefore heavier soft Kevlar filler in it. And they've got bigger ceramic plates or, you know, whatever other plates in them, so they weigh a lot more. The thing I like about, like you're saying, the ECBA, and I think the reason the British Army kept it in service so long is just these are so damn practical for rear echelon things. That sort of thing, yeah. Something very similar to that DL. Again, if you had a very reliable air rifle that you don't think is going to break at any point, like just a good simple Springer, that would be good as well for small game, because again, that would actually be more practical than the crossbow. For yeah, see a hype, and like I said, yeah, the Chi-Com things would be good for water bottles and snacks. Yeah. I can't get one out at the moment, Weapons and Military do, just because it's not in this room. But if I do a stream tomorrow evening, I'll get my M65 gas mask or Type 65 gas mask and the Chi-Com out, because they're both next to each other in the other room. So I don't have any black pajamas to wear and like a little, you know, like rice paddy hat. I don't have one of those, but yeah, I do buy some more of that stuff, because yeah, I do like that commie era sort of Vietnam and Chinese sort of gear. Yeah, just to show people who don't know, these have these in them, which technically are actually still quite hard to get on the surplus market because of the fact that the British Army recycled these. So even when they surplused a lot of these vests, they kept the ceramic plates out of them in service because they used these as like little extra bolt-on bits with some other vests. So yeah, these, like, I actually kind of wonder with this if it would have been better placed around that way, the ceramic plate in this, rather than like there, but you know. But yeah, this is the only, like, other than like police style soft body armor, like the stab resistant armor and the you know, pistol caliber armor, this is the only vest I've got that would actually be comfortable to wear for a long period. Like I said, the problem is with a lot of the heavier army vests, and I'm sure they'll get better in the future, is just the weight distribution on a lot of plate carriers just feels off to me. As in, you know, like I said, the problem a lot of them have, again, this has quite an open collar, which is great, but, you know, again, it's not good for shrapnel protection. That's obviously why a lot of the other ones have a more beefy neck area around them. Again, the reason this is comfortable is because of the fact it doesn't have all those things, which again, I think is the reason that the army kept these in service for so long, was because, you know, they found it hard to get rid of them because there was just a lot of jobs where this was the only real thing that it was suitable, you know, as armor to wear, where you either had the option of armor that was too bulky for certain roles, or no armor. So this is a good, stopgap of it. It gives you at least some protection. I don't actually. Do they actually have specific names? Because I just know them as like the Vietnam era ones. I didn't know there's specific types. Because I thought Chi-Com was just Chinese communist, so like Chinese communist rigging. Let me see if I can find the most recent one I got. I'll go on AliExpress and I'll find out which surplus seller on there I bought it from. Hang on, and then I can link you. But like I said, there's one I bought years ago as well, but I don't even know where that one is. To be handy, right? I hope it doesn't need to verify me with my phone, so I can't then do that while I'm on the stream. Oh, the chat's actually broken on here. I just want to see if I can fix that by switching the messaging back and forward again. All messages, yep. All right, let me see. Purchase history. My orders, I guess that'd be on AliExpress. Yeah, this one. This one is apparently a type, although they spelt type wrong, 81 AK chest rig. It looks like it would have 4 AK pouches and then like 2 smaller pouches on the side. 1 second, and I'll just link to the page if the listing's still up. This one is made in 1994, so it's not a Vietnam era one, but there you go. Again, I think the other one I had might have had a slightly different pouch layout to this one. But yeah, like I said, I actually like these things just because of how simple they are. Because like I said, the one I really like, and I've shown it in some videos, I've got 2 variants. I've got one British Army set of assault rigging that's, one where all the pouches are in preset positions. You can't change it. They're essentially, like stitched into the thing. And that's pretty good. That's like one that you can wear over this and it just zips up and then you do the zip up. So it's like a mesh thing with, like the pouches in preset places. The other one I really like is almost the exact same thing. It's Dutch, so it's DPM as well, but it's not British DPM, it's Dutch DPM. But it's nothing but the molly straps. So it's very lightweight, breathable mesh kind of camo rigging in 95 DPM, the Dutch equivalent of 95 DPM. But then it's nothing but molly things, so you can put any of your own molly pouches wherever you want it. And both of those are really nice because, again, a bit like we're saying, a bit like with those Chi-Com sort of rigs. You could put them over something like this, and then you can have a rig accessible if you wanted one with just some practical armor. Hang on, Cal, let me see what you said in proper thing. Thank you, Go Mama. Yeah, I actually did. Like I said, I always do this myself because of the thing of if I'm messing about with gas masks or whatever, having decent length hair is not practical. So I always just get out some clippers, do that. It normally looks a bit shit for the first couple of days because you can never get everything quite even when you take the guard off. There'll always be bits of your head where the hair looks a bit longer, but within a couple of days it matches out at pretty boldly even. So search AliExpress for this hunting FGA tax camo tactical. I'm just going to search that into Google because if I search that into AliExpress, that'll probably confuse it. Yeah, there we go. Google has found your one. Yeah, I like that one. I actually quite like, have you seen some of the South African rigging? But a lot of that now is way more expensive than it used to be. You search rigging webbing. But yeah, because I think South Africa was one of the countries at one point that had really good rigging for the era. But yeah, the one that's like the bit over your shoulders with the belt bit, and then like I think it's quite adaptable, the South African one. Yeah, although I think with a lot of stuff, like Weapons and Military Dude Rebooted, is the issue is sometimes the stuff isn't so expensive, and then it becomes like a fad, doesn't it? And it becomes more expensive because, like I said, it's there's lots of stuff like that. Like even with the gas mask and milsurp stuff, where stuff sometimes used to be a really sensible price, and then almost overnight, when stuff became more popular for whatever reasons, it came sort of silly prices. Yeah, Nutria Brown, that's the one I'm thinking of, yes. Another set of rigging I really like. I'll just get a picture up in the images of the British rigging I've got, I mean. If I can find it. Because I don't like the older British webbing belts with the Alice kind of knockoff thing they use, which is really annoying to do. British DPM webbing. Let me see if... I can get up the type of thing I mean for that. Salt vest I might want to put in. Yeah, DPM assault vest. So this is the kind of thing I was on about. If I just put this in the chat, if the link works. They're saying that's the sort of stuff I liked, because I said that you got those in different things and they go fine over an ECBA because of all the things. I used one of those a lot when I was dog walking, because I could have the poo bags in one of the pouches. I could have a water bottle for me in a pouch, a water bottle for the dogs in another pouch. I could have another one of the pockets that I kept just for the poo bags after they were tied up with dog poo in them to keep them from the clean dog poo bags. So yeah, that kind of webbing was really good. Like I said, and the Dutch one I had was essentially just that, but nothing but the like molly kind of straps on it, so you could fit everything where you wanted it. I wonder if they do a more modern MTP one of those. But sadly, I think these kind of things died out because everything just went to molly straps all over plate carriers. Well, like I said, those old kind of rigging systems I think are cooler. Let me see if I can find a Type 85 Chicom at the moment. Bear in mind, I don't have loads of spare money at the moment because I've bought a couple of things that were expensive. Type 84 Chicom. Can I find any for sale anywhere that aren't silly prices? No, that is an expired listing. Here we go. Surplus Type 85 SMG chest rig, 762 by 25mm pouch bandolier. Is that the one? But yeah, I'll have a proper look after the stream. But what makes them specifically different than the other rigs? Is it just the size of the pouches and all that? Oh, we got another weirdo on. Goodbye. Yeah, because like I said, I've got a couple of plate carriers. I just like I said, because I'm a civilian and I'm not in a situation where I'm expecting shells to go off at any moment. This is kind of the heaviest armor I want. Because like I was saying, the problem is with a lot of the plate carriers is they just add a lot more discomfort for stuff that probably wouldn't, you know, give you much better survival chances as a civilian. Like, yeah, you can have slightly bigger ceramic plates. Like I said, I've got that fairly big level 4 plate that I put in the front end of that British body armor. But in reality, it's like, this is the kind of armor size I like, or the police style vests that you can wear under a jacket and would stop a knife, as well as some pistol cartridges. Because to me, they're the things as a civilian that are going to be a lot more practical that you'd need, rather than something, you know, like the... But, yeah. Anyway, I will head off fairly soon, because I've been on, what now, an hour and 4 minutes. But, if tomorrow I'm streaming, I probably will be in the evening. I will try and get my Chinese 81 rig or whatever we said it probably was, and the Type 65 gas mask out, so we can do some Viet Cong dress up, and then get arrested because here you're a racist now, father. Yeah, that's what it's like saying Retrowave. Like we were saying that yeah, they didn't really vanish, but yeah, it was the case that they got superseded, didn't they? But like I said, I miss the old systems. What I would still like somebody to make, yeah, sadly don't have any black pajamas. Wear a lampshade on my head as well, and like I said, do the Father Ted thing of look, Dougal, I'm Chinese, and then get arrested for being a racist. But yeah, what was I going to say with the webbing type stuff and all the armor? Or maybe I've gone off on a tangent or something about something else and I've forgotten now. Thermal scope. I don't actually have any like thermal scopes that are just scopes. The only thermal thing, I don't know if I've really done a video on it properly, I have that's like a dedicated thermal thing that isn't built into my phone, is this guide one, the TD420. If this is charged, I'll turn this on for you. It probably won't look very good through a camera thing anyway. But the reason I don't massively like this might sound weird, is the fact that this is a fixed 2.4 times zoom, which I find is a bit too much for what I like. So, don't know how good that is there. Can't see if you can really see me through there, because it's probably a bit too, is that my glasses there? Yeah, I think that's... But yeah, like I said, this I haven't used this much. This doesn't record directly, but you can link it via Bluetooth, I think it is, or Wi-Fi to your phone. So what I might do is do another video with this, because I could probably reset this up with my phone. I can't do it right now while I'm streaming. But yeah, in theory, it has an app where you can link this to your phone, and then you can record and take pictures and save it directly to your phone, where it, like, you know, does it over Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or something fairly close by. And that feature, when I tested it, did work all right, although it didn't work on one of my phones. So, like, I don't know if it was because different versions of Android or whatever, but yeah. Like I said, the problem with this thing is the fact that it's, like I said, it's a bit too... Like, I can see stuff at the other end of the room, all right? So, let me just focus this a second, and I'll show you what I mean. So, if I... We have blocks now. I don't want to... Right, if I... Hang on a second. Just, if I turn that there, I might be able to... Come on, YouTube. I'm trying to flip the camera, and it's... Oh, you're orientating the wrong way. No, I'm not orientating the wrong way. Right, is it gonna... See, when I try and flip the camera around, I don't think it's doing anything now. Why is YouTube not recording the other way when I've told it to flip the camera? Okay, this is weird. So when I'm looking this way, it records, but as soon as I do the flip the camera thing, YouTube stops recording. It just goes to a frozen screen. I can turn the light on and off the back, but that's not... I assume it's not working on the other one. Let me just double check. Oh, I've managed to reconnect, but yeah, that was for some reason breaking the stream. Oh, I've managed to reconnect, but yeah, that was for some reason breaking the stream when I tried to do that. So yeah, I don't know why it's breaking the stream when I try and flip the camera, but just to see if you can see through this. Okay, this is going to be very difficult to do, because I'm going to have to try and do it through looking at the delay on my phone through there, but if you can see the aircon unit over there in a second. Right, I'm just going to, because I'm on the delay, I'm going to have to see if this works. So, again, I don't really know if that's seeing very well. So it probably needs to be about that height, but yeah, sadly because I can't see in real time. Yeah, you might be able to see over there if I just pan it around a bit. You can see the heat profile quite well, and the resolution's quite good on this. But like I said, it's just because it's got that 2.4 times zoom that it ends up being kind of sort of impractical with anyway, I'm just going to put that back round to look at me. But like I said, this is actually good if you're not using it up really close. But the problem, like I said, with this one is because it's got a fixed 2.4 times zoom, you can do more digital zoom, but it's not great for inside the house. So like with my aircon unit there, I can see where the hot bits are behind the plastic, which is really cool. Because this is much higher res than my sort of a one. It's kept the battery really well, actually, for not have being charged in ages. This is, I haven't charged this in probably months. So that has retained battery really well. But yeah, so like I say, in this guide one, I think you can do different light profile things on here as well. Ah, yeah, you can, yep. Like red hot, rainbow, and all those. So yeah, like I said, this is a really nice, good picture on this one. It's just a shame that, like I said, it's 2.4, but I need to reset this up with my phone at some point anyway. And then turn it off. Why is it flashing green? I thought I turned it off. Or is that just in sleep mode? Oh yeah, I have to hold it down to power it off, don't you? Yeah, I'll recharge it and I'll reconnect to this phone. But yeah, like I said, this is a good thing. So this is a guide one. This is a TD420, which I think is one of their so 420 smoke weed every day. I think that's a discontinued one. So I think their models now are better. But the best looking thermal though I've seen for like commercial things is that one Hike was showing up on that video, where he's got that one with a variable zoom thermal, which is great, rather than it being a fixed, fixed distance. So like I said, my phone has got a thermal camera on it, but that's quite a low res one, that is just more for quickly checking the temperatures of things. This is much better, obviously, for wildlife kind of scoping and stuff like that. But yeah. Oh yeah, what battery did this take? Yeah, this just takes a 18650. There you go. So it just goes in this little slot down there. I assume that was in the positive at that other end. Yeah. Yeah, this though isn't one that you can mount as a rifle scope. I mean, in theory, you could have it as a spotting scope, but this doesn't have a crosshair on this one. So yeah, you could use this alongside some sort of IR night vision thing to help you spot where a target was in that regard. But yeah, this particular one isn't one that you can actually what do you call it? Like you can't do a proper zoom in sort of there's no crosshair on it. You couldn't mount this to a gun and then use this as your receptacle. Just get that flush again where I skew with the lens there. There we go. No, again, the phone app ones are fake if you don't have a thermal camera. This phone has a thermal camera on it. So, yeah, if you just have a regular phone with no thermal camera, then they are fake. This phone, you can buy phones that have thermal cameras built onto them, but they cost more. So, yeah, the last two phones I've had have been thermal camera phones because of the fact that, like I was saying, that they're... I don't know if I got them in this drawer, because if I've got my other one... No, that's just an old Motorola. But, yeah, because the last phone I had was also a thermal one. If that was handy, I'd have just been able to show you the back of it to show you, what a thermal phone looks like. But yeah, sadly, I don't have them handy. But yeah, the Armor 25T I have. Anyway, I'm ending the stream now anyway because we've gone over. I think the audio's probably screwed up because of the what you call it, the where the stream broke when I tried to flip the camera over, which shouldn't have caused any issues, but it's broken for some reason. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Hopefully I will be on tomorrow evening, and then yeah, whatever. But yeah, see you all. Goodbye.